It's Gun Week. Now, the Founding Fathers understood that only an armed people could truly be a free people. So this week, I invite you to join me and MugClub's resident gun aficionado, Mrgunsngear, as we tackle the subject of firearms from every angle possible. In today's episode, we have a little fun, a lot of fun with ballistics, and see just how effective each round truly is. All right, so we've done 5 other installments. This one's really more for us.
It's just fun.
Yeah, we got some ballistics gelatin.
Why not?
You can hit one of those videos where we dispel some of the common myths, but this does kind of help do that because a lot of people don't really know what calibers do to soft tissue, to bone. So this is the proper gelatin that would be used in the FBI ballistics.
It's clear ballistics gel, which is a synthetic material.
Yeah.
The FBI uses organic, but organic's way harder to film with, so this simulates it very close.
It's okay.
Very nice.
I stand corrected. It's very close, but none of us have plotted to kidnap a sitting governor. So
Yes.
I think the synthetic works.
For the FBI.
And the standards for this, just so you know, as far as defensive use with a caliber, is you're looking for a specific penetration without over penetration. That number is?
So the FBI standard, which is kind of the industry standard, 12 to 18 inches.
Okay.
Basically, you want to get enough penetration, but not too much penetration.
Whatever,
Is the
12 to
idea.
18 inches. Mm-hmm.
We're children.
It's
12 inches
ballistics
is a
gel.
lot.
It's been a long day and we're very, very hot. And of course, none of us trust it. So Mike, Mrgunsngear, go check out his channel, is going to be shooting into this block or 2 blocks of ballistics gel. We are going to, we're going to go 22.
22, 380.
380, a very common carry defensive caliber in small firearms, then a 9mm. And we'll move on to some rifle rounds and shotgun. And we may actually have maybe the Magnum round if we get one of those. We'll see if it's laying around.
That'll be fun.
So, all right, let's just watch Mike shoot and see what happens in slow-mo in the gel. And you know what, maybe we could add some sleepscape sounds. Let's do one of those soothing sleep casts with ballistics gelatin.
I think that works.
Yeah.
All right, starting off with the 22 there.
Yep, starting out with 22. And we have a hollow point round.
Wait, hold on a second. Don't move. It's a sign from God. A butterfly landed on his ears right now. That means that even God loves him. Okay.
Well, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds good. So
just try not to blow it away.
So we have 22 hollow points out of a pistol, so it's going to perform differently than it would out of a rifle, but let's see.
Where
So that actually penetrated more than I thought it would.
Yeah.
It's right here
Is
into
it
the second
between?
block. So these are 16-inch blocks, and it basically went 16 inches on the dot.
Jeez.
I actually didn't expect that from 22.
That's kind of perfect if you were going to ask for a 22 to be a defensive round, right?
There's just not much, like it doesn't do much in there.
No, it doesn't.
It's
It's ice picking through.
Yeah.
All of your pistol calibers are going to do that.
Okay.
So until you get into rifles, you're essentially just ice picking.
Okay.
So,
nice. Shows you what I know.
That's interesting.
Huh.
Now we need to know what round that is, because I shoot a lot of 22 gel. That's not normal.
Was that a mini mag?
Maybe, I don't know. We'll have to check it out.
I think it was.
Oh, was it? Okay. Well, that makes sense.
Yeah,
They're not
it
a
does.
sponsor, but they
It
make
does.
good stuff.
They do.
All right.
Perfect. I want to see this.
No,
thing.
don't ruin it.
Are we going to shoot it
just,
again?
Well, yeah.
We have other
We
other
do
gel.
have other ones, but this one, I mean, come on, this one's still good. There's so little damage, right?
I think so.
All right, let's do it again. Okay, fine. I see what you mean.
It feels nice too, doesn't it?
We've been out here all day.
Yeah.
We're delirious. All right. Next up is.
you want to shoot it with a rifle?
Careful, that's slippery.
That's mud.
Here, let me grab the Walther PPK.
You want to do the rifle 22 as well?
It's just a good comparison.
Good comparison. Let's do that. Rifle 22.
Here you go.
Is it the same round?
I don't think it's the same round.
Okay. That's fine.
Wait, is it? Hold on, let me see what's in here. No. You want me to make it the same round?
Yeah, might as well. It's a rotary mag. Are those mags full?
That's interesting.
There we go.
There you go.
All right.
Cool.
Can you see the beads of sweat? I mean, it's no butterfly, but.
All right. Up next,
guys
we're going
all
to be
ready?
shooting the exact same bullet, but out of a rifle-length barrel, so should behave differently. We'll find out.
All right, it stopped here.
Yep.
That's a little shorter than the other one. I wonder why.
Yep. So the reason it did that is the velocity is very different. So
Okay.
when you speed it up, bullets come apart, fragment, mushroom, whatever the case may be, depending on bullet design. So that's
Mushroom.
why that one penetrated less, because it's spread out more.
Yeah.
So more surface moving through.
Well, you
right?
can even see that it compressed.
Yep.
There, it almost looks like an old musket round. It's like a perfect.
Oh yeah,
For
I
sure.
see that.
And if you look here in
Bigger.
the entrance wound, that one actually either expanded or tumbled. One of the two. The high-speed footage should tell us, but just looking at that track, it did one of the two.
And sometimes I think it's important for people to note, like there is a point depending on the grains. Like there's a point of diminishing returns, or if you fire it too fast, especially some of like sort of semi-fragmenting
Yep.
rounds where they don't penetrate nearly as deeply.
Correct, because it's all about bullet design. So 357 Magnum's a good example. Almost all 357 Magnum, like defensive loads, are designed to perform out of a 3 to 5 inch barrel. So when you put them in like a lever action, a lot of times they'll under penetrate because they'll expand too much. So
They're coming out so quickly.
Right,
Yeah.
correct.
How about we do this? Let's
Wanna
just
do flip?
Let's turn it around.
Okay. We can do
You
that.
guys turn it around so I don't mess it. And I'll grab the 380 before we go on to 9mm. Stop it. You're a married man, Gerald. Yeah. This is the Walther PPK.
Okay.
So this is 380.
Okay.
And it's actually a pretty good gun to use, probably could appreciate it. I think it's a longer barrel than a lot of the micro pocket
Right.
carries, so you'll kind of get the right ballistics out of it, or I guess maximizing it. Yeah, if you toss it in single, I mean, you'll hit it anyway, but the
So
double
in the
action.
gun right now we have full metal jacket. So
Yes.
in 380 there is somewhat of a debate between hollow points and full metal jacket in terms of how they perform. We'll leave that to the comment section.
It's one of those. Look,
happen.
I'll say this because he's being very diplomatic. It is one of those rounds, the 380. Keep in mind, we're talking about the same diameter, right, as a 9mm. Far less. You're talking about power, like powder that you can fit into it, right? Think of it as shortened. And if it's a hollow point, there's a lot of data to suggest, and there are some exceptions.
Yep.
But as a general rule, unless you have the right gun, the right round, it can under penetrate if it expands. And so there are a lot of people who say just use ball ammo. The risk of it over penetrating is again still pretty low because it's not that powerful of a round. So a lot of people will tell you to use standard ball ammo. It's one of the exceptions to the rule.
It is. It's a debate.
It's a debate. It's a debate. It's a debate.
All right.
So that did over penetrate.
It did over penetrate and it did tumble. So
Look at
when
that.
you see that type of wound pattern with full metal jacket, that's 100% what it did.
Yeah.
So it went in, tumbled, and then it looks like it made a full rotation in that
Oh
one.
wow. I didn't know that it got all that way in there.
Yep. So for this one, we'll get out a tape measure here in a
Oh, there's
second.
actually a piece. Oh, no, this
That's
is the
the
old one.
22. Yeah, so talking about 16-inch blocks, probably went about 28 to 29 inches.
Jeez.
So
Now, how much of that, we see that obviously in the gelatin. How much of a reflection is that actually, as far as would that have a larger wound cavity in the body?
Probably not, is the answer to that. So when you're talking about pistol ballistics, they don't really tear flesh like rifle rounds do.
Yeah.
Reason for that is just velocity. If you think of your body's made of water, almost all.
Yeah.
And so when you get those rounds going fast, generally speaking, over 2,000 feet per second, that's when flesh starts
That's when
tearing.
car alarms go off.
I know, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's when flesh starts tearing because it just can't get out of the way fast enough.
Gotcha.
So that's why rifle wounds are just so much more devastating than pistol wounds. But I mean, there would be some tissue damage like that, but it wouldn't be like what we're going to see with the rifles.
Now,
Okay.
what about, because we're talking about like the hydrostatic shock.
Correct.
The wound cavity, where think about it, it goes, and we'll see it in slow motion, it goes, whoa, basically like this, it goes, whoa, whoa, whoa. These are technical terms you need not concern yourself with. But
It's from Dune.
I don't know what happens today where three guys like us who've been out in 100+ degree heat and we're severely dehydrated.
Yeah, well-
Would that be a form of natural?
no, natural defense.
Probably worse damage?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, we have the Walther PDP, and what I did was, just so you guys can see, I put in, will be like ball, like a target round here. Underneath it, we have a hollow point. So we can fire two in, that way you can see side by side the difference in sort of the wound cavity.
And I should just note before we fire, the hollow point that we're using is a Winchester 115 grain white box, it's called. So it's not the highest performing round, if you will. So there's newer stuff that's better, but it should replicate it.
Sorry, Winchester, but if maybe you should just stop making such poor performing bullets.
It's cheap though.
Yeah,
It's like
there
the
you
cheapest
go.
hollow points you can get.
So there you go. High point and the Winchester 115.
So that hollow point went in there only 11 inches. So that's actually, if you look into the history of 9mm, that's one of the rounds that was used in the Miami shootout in the 80s.
Oh.
And that's what caused the FBI to actually switch away from 9mm was under penetration, which is exactly what you see right here. So only going in 11 inches. In that instance, it failed to hit a guy's heart, a criminal, and he was able to keep fighting. So that's why they switched it, because of that underperformance. But here, obviously you can see over penetration as well. So on that one, with the full metal jacket, we're looking at 29 inches of penetration on that round. So probably more than what you would typically want.
And to be clear too, sometimes people will get this doesn't mean that it will exactly penetrate, let's say, 12 or 14. It's meant to be a relevant metric to give you an idea as to what you're looking for with that penetration, to guarantee that it'll, crush bone if it needs to, make it through clothing, right? That's something people don't take into account.
Correct, and it's also a consistent medium. That's why a lot of people use it, because you can compare round to round to round and have a consistent outcome.
It's like a barbell. A barbell where you have the exact, like sure, you can get stronger using a kettlebell, but it's hard to measure, whereas you know the exact poundage. It's kind of a good way to measure progress. So neither one of those would be ideal.
No.
Well, Miami.
Ideal is here?
Ideal is 12 to 18 inches. That's what people are always looking for.
So 11.
Yeah, just a little bit short with that one.
Right.
Now, if you put clothing in front of it, that could delay the opening of the hollow point, so it could make it penetrate more. It just depends. There's a lot of variables.
Gosh, there's so much to know.
Time lapse, burnt neck. That doesn't happen in 30 seconds, but now we are going to go on to the rifle. And then I'm looking forward to the shotgun, buckshot, and birdshot. This is 223.
Yep, this is 55 grain, so it's going to be similar to M193, which is a military loading for like 20 years in the military, 30 years. So 5.56, 223 is a very velocity-dependent round. So at this close-up with a 16-inch barrel, it should still do pretty well, even though it's not fancy stuff.
And with something like this, like it's not nearly as relevant as with a pistol, whether it's a hollow point or it still is, but not to the same degree.
Correct. At this distance, with the 16-inch barrel, not that big a difference.
All right.
There's some.
There's some commenters. Like, just to be clear, we're just saying not as much.
Right. And there are people who know what they're talking about that use 55 grain full metal jacket for defense.
Well, we'll leave that for the comments.
That's true.
All right, let's see.
Wow.
So what you see here probably is more evident in the slow-mo that you guys probably saw than what you see here with the actual wound track itself. But as you can see, it went in about probably 4 inches and then started fragmenting.
Yeah,
so what's happening there is the bullet's going so fast and it hits that soft tissue, the bullet itself is breaking apart. So it started to come apart right around 3 to 4 inches. I think slow-mo would tell us, but I think it actually exited at the bottom of the block. So what you see there with rifle rounds often, particularly full metal jacket, is that they will tumble, twist, turn in the gel, and the same thing would happen in a deer or your body.
Now, just to be clear though, we'll do that in the myths video. It doesn't mean that it bounces around like a ping pong ball.
No,
It just sort of redirects a little bit.
Correct. Because the drag on the bullet as it goes through changes. Yep, that's the exit hole right there. So, Gerald has found it.
Let's shoot one more to see if it goes all the way through.
Give it to the block.
Yeah, see if we can get.
You think it just then ricocheted off of that, the fragment? Oh,
yep,
wow.
For sure.
Crazy.
All right, so we had a very similar thing happen. So it turned consistent performance, if nothing else. This one actually went a little bit further down in the block. This one's probably exited around 13 inches. But same type of fragmentation. In ballistics terms, we call it the neck, right there in the front. And what clear ballistics doesn't show all that well is what the real temporary stretch cavity would be if you were actually shooting like ordnance grade gel or tissue. So you have your permanent cavity, which is what you see that's damaged, and then your stretch cavity, which this doesn't do a good job of replicating, but I think the slow-mo probably shows that a little bit better than what we see here with our naked eye. But yeah, this one exited the block.
I was talking about.
Correct. This one exited the block at 14 inches, so still going strong.
All right, now let's grab the shotgun, and because that's one of the myths that we'll be dispelling, and you can click on the link below, where some people say all you need is bird shot. You don't want over penetration, you just want bird shot, isn't that right?
Bird shot,
if you don't want to win the gunfight.
Yes. So we'll do a round of 12 gauge. We'll do bird shot and then buckshot into another block of gel, so you can see the penetration and why it's a silly thing that only silly people say. Birdshot and buckshot, same block.
All right, let's do it.
All right.
Am I the only one who thinks that when you shoot that gun smells like farts?
It does a little bit.
It does smell like farts.
That's what all the
I think,
birdshot
actually.
is.
All right, so as you guys can see here, the birdshot, the farthest pellet I can see is 8 inches of penetration.
That's a nuisance.
And many of them stopped at the 3-inch mark.
Are you just trying to piss people off at that point?
Well, yeah.
Put clothing on that?
It's like pepper spray, but spicier.
And add PCP to the mix.
Right, exactly.
Is
But
this
yeah,
what
so-
Dick Cheney shot some guy with?
It is. Yes.
Really?
Well, the one we know of.
Cheney was quail hunting with Harry Whittington when he accidentally fired his shotgun, not realizing it was pointed at Whittington.
The one we've heard in the news.
And then you can see all the buckshot. So, did any of the buckshot stop
It
here?
did, yep.
Was the one stopped there and the rest went in here?
And those are double-aught buckshot. So for standard buckshot, that's the heaviest load that people are going to use. So they make number 1 buckshot, number 4 buckshot. Those are smaller projectiles. There's more of them in the shotgun shell itself, and they will penetrate a little bit less. So for buckshot, this is the heaviest penetrating round that's typically used. So you can see here that we had a couple of them stop between the 15 and 19-inch mark, and it looks like we had 2 go out past that all the way out to 26 inches on that one. So a little bit more penetration that would be ideal. Me personally, if I'm getting in a gunfight, I would rather have more penetration than less if I had to err on the side of one or the other.
And when you're talking about the actual, right, sort of like the muzzle energy, is that about the equivalent to, is it 8 rounds of 9mm? Close.
It's very similar, yeah. It's very similar. People rarely take buckshot to the chest and continue doing whatever they were doing.
Yeah,
it's true, but that's not true with pistols.
That's what they were doing, was taking buckshot to the chest.
Yes. Well, then they can still take buckshot to the chest.
Yes, they continue to do that. But yeah, I mean, you'll see a lot of security camera footage all the time of people take high center chest hits with pistols and they keep moving. Yeah. You just don't see it with buckshot.
Well, we had someone just,
I'm not saying it's impossible.
Yes, and this is one of those things that a lot of people will tell you this. And we had someone who was an operator, former special forces, say, just trust me, I know what I'm talking about, birdshot. And Ginger Snap said, like, wait a second, I had a friend who was shot with birdshot, and like he can still mostly see out of that eye. Like, I'm not saying it's fun. I know some of the comments, you go ahead and stand in front of it and get shot with birdshot. I don't want to be shot with a BB gun. But when you're talking about home defense, I mean, it looks like a poppy seed muffin.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a liability. Not saying it wouldn't work, but if you're shooting someone, there's a reason you're shooting them, right? So you want them to stop. So selecting the right round to do that is important.
There we go. Ballistics, gelatin, and click on the other links for more of the debunking the gun myths. Oh, shout out, by the way, thank you to the gun range here.
Yeah, Texas Defensive Shooting Academy.
Yep, they let us come out. They do. A lot of people come out here and shoot. We didn't get to use a lot of the cool stuff. I mean, it kind of looks like Mad Max with all the tires, but
it was good.
Great place, took care of us, and the heat stroke is not their fault.
No.
They actually have cover
Stop
here.
sweating, is that a problem?
I don't know, but we probably want to get eat a banana.
Odds are good. But while we're here, notice the pattern of the entrance. It didn't just spread out. You actually had to aim it to hit what we were shooting at.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true.
Oh wait,
the spread.
it didn't do this?
No.
It wasn't like a stop sign moving through the air?
No, it was not.
Yeah, and this would be obviously more so the bird shot, which would be even more spread out.
Correct.
And what about 5 yards?
7 yards.
7 yards. So yeah, you still do need to aim with a shotgun. Not as precisely,
right?
But if you think it's going to be the size of that, that communist target logo right there, no, you're looking at about 7 yards, about maybe the circumference, the opening of a pint glass-ish.
Rule of thumb with shotguns, if you're using traditional buckshot, the shotguns do have chokes that you can change this with, some do, but rule of thumb is 1 inch per yard in terms of spread.
Yeah, I think that was how just people seeing it's like a show and tell. It's like Magic School Bus, but violent. So subscribe, comment, click one of the other videos. There's 5.
We gotta go.
If you like this video, click like, consider subscribing, or comment below. And of course, consider tuning in to the live show, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern, right here on this channel.